Welcome to Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network. What is going on, everybody? Somebody has a case of the Mondays. Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. And, well, Bob's your uncle. Rants on the Street with Thomas Stevens. Shout out to my producer, Tyler Heavy T. Soto. Boom. Yes. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network and at Fantasy Alarm, at Better Network, at Fantasy Alarm, at all your favorite social media destinations. I apologize. Last week, I don't miss too many shows. Really, I've only missed 2 in the last year and a half. But some things came up, so I apologize. But don't worry. We will, and I mean we will, make it up to you tonight on Monday Night Rants. The funnest show on Monday night. That is for sure. And what better way to make it up to you than showing you 2 Monday Night Football games. That's right, 2 Monday Night Football games. Why? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. 2 games, Week 14, on at the same time. Come on now, NFL. What is this? It's ridiculous. Silly. The scheduling this year is silly. I know Christmas is on a Monday and New Year's, but still, come on. It's ridiculous. But a lot of fantasy football implications on the line tonight. I know I have a few things I'm stressing over tonight in my fantasy football leagues to make playoffs or get that first or second seed bye. One of them, a little worried about right now because I need Tyreek Hill. And I have Waddle in another league, and Waddle got a big hit with his first catch. He went out to the tent, the blue medical tent, which is just the thing that he came back in. And Tyreek Hill has been sitting on the sideline with his helmet off. Scary. However, this has happened this year already with Tyreek Hill, and he's come back every time. So I'm hoping he comes back tonight into this game to help my fantasy team. And hope if you have him, he does the same. Currently, it is 7-0 Miami. A pick 6 on Will Levis for that one. After a Tua fumble, they got the ball back, pick 6. Miami's up 7-0. We'll see what happens here. And but by the way, I noticed this tonight. Mike Vrabel, doesn't he have a little bit, and I mean a little bit of a Robert De Niro face? Once you see it, you'll never not see it again. You're welcome, my fellow ranters. And the other game, Green Bay 7 on a Jordan Reed end around. We told you Jordan Reed was going to be a thing in the NFL. And what a great rookie season he's had. Looks like he's going to be a great fantasy contributor and NFL player going forward. On the other end, a Saquon Barkley touchdown as well. It is 7-7 in that game that the Packers must win to stay alive in the playoff race, which they are currently the last seed. More on that later. For sure. So 2 games. We'll keep you updated as time goes by. We'll let you know how it's going to go in these games, and hopefully everything works out in your fantasy leagues and you make the playoffs. Good luck to you all, my fellow ranters. In the Guillotine League, in the Monday Night Rants Guillotine League, we are down to the 5. We'll have the final 4 after tonight. Currently, Stan Hill is in that 5th spot, but he needs Mozart to outgain Waddle by 17 points. Not looking so good right now with Waddle in and Tyreek not in. And looks like we should have the final 4, which I'll announce at the end of the show. So exciting things. Give me a cheer for that. Exciting things here tonight on Monday Night Rants. We have a really, really awesome guest tonight. And by the way, this show, I love this show. I love my producer and Thomas Stevens a lot. You know, they really help out with this show. They do a lot of the work for me. But from 2 guys who say they never go to Disneyland ever before we started the show, they've both gone like 2 or 3 times apiece. That's right. Tyler Heavy T Soto is off tonight. He's at Disneyland again. So Hopefully he's enjoying Space Mountain as we speak, screaming his heavy T butt off, going woo down the Space Mountain ride. I'll try to get him to see if he can call in from his phone. We can see what Disneyland looks like on a Monday night, but we'll see. He's enjoying some well-deserved time off there at the happiest place on Earth, which he deserves after the Ohtani situation as being a Angels fan. So I see you guys in the chat. Chow Chad, TTV. We're talking transfer portal tonight. We are talking transfer portal tonight, and I'm going to have a very special guest tonight. And I mean, this is a guy I follow on Twitter. I watch their shows here on the Better Sports Network, Campus to Canton. Joining me tonight will be Felix Sharp. Yes. This guy knows his college football. And what Campus to Campus does is a really cool thing. Really cool. They do fantasy football dynasty, but take it to a whole new level. You get these guys as their college prospects, and you get to keep them all the way through into the NFL. It's a really cool platform. We'll get him on. We'll talk about that with him. I want to get in on it next year. I love it. We're going to talk about the transfer portal, where he thinks some of the big stars are going. There's chaos this year in the quarterback realm, that's for sure. And we'll see what he thinks of the college football championship. I know he thinks is going to win. That'll be a lot of fun. He'll be on at the bottom of the hour. And after that, Thomas Stevens, Rant on the Street, baby. That's right. Rant on the Street. We're going to talk to him, the 5 questions you asked on Instagram and TikTok over the last 2 weeks. So a lot more to choose from tonight. And we'll talk a little UFC coming up this next week, too, the last big event of the year, and some NBA action as well. Wait, Tavares says, what is going on, ranters? Yes, what is going on? Happy Monday night rants to all of you. And Chow Chad is having some fun with our heavy T here, saying Angels fan, ? Could have just called him a masochist and left him at that. Ooh, heavy T on vacation, getting some heat, getting some straight heat. Love to see it, though. Real quick, I always give you some of my bets for the night of the late games, whether it's college basketball or NBA. The college basketball games late night tonight kind of stink, so I'm not going to get into them too much. We do have some NBA action tonight, 2 games kicking off at 10 p.m. Eastern and 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Some big ones here, actually. The Brooklyn Nets are traveling to the Sacramento Kings. Light the beam! It is currently a -4.5 favorite for Sacramento Kings, with 63% of the public on the Kings at home and 37 at +4.5 with Brooklyn. The over and under sit to 234. Now, the Kings at home are 6-3 this year, so pretty good. And we know how they play at home. The light the beat thing is a real thing. I don't normally go for the public at -4.5, but Brooklyn traveling all the way to the West Coast on a Monday night against the Kings. I'm actually taking the Kings -4.5 here. The over and under seems about right at that 237.5 now. Geez, it's going higher. For Portland, they're going to Clippers. LA now, we've talked mad trash on them for a long time, the Clippers. But they've kind of gotten it together recently, and this foursome, if you will, of the aging players have worked out pretty well. Now, it is a -13-point home favorite for the Clippers. Now, they've won games recently, but haven't really been blowing teams out. And this Portland team, after getting dominated the opening game of the season, may have some things to stay. So I'm actually going against the public and I'm going against the -13. And I think Portland's going to keep this close within 10. So I'm going to take Portland +13 on the NBA matchup tonight. More on the NBA later when Thomas Stevens joins and we talk a little NBA action with the 5 questions on Rants on the Street. But before we do that, the staple of the show, before we get into everything with Felix Sharp of Campus to Canton and Thomas Stevens, we got to do what we do every week. It is time for the Rant Lines. I know we will talk a lot of football in the Rant Lines, but I got to get this out of the way first. Just my thoughts real quickly. I know it's old news by now, and I get it, but I didn't get a chance to talk about it. I'm only on once a week, people. Come on, bear with me. Show me the money. That's right. Ohtani signing a 10-year, $700 million contract with the Dodgers. Shout out to everybody on Twitter who was following his plane from LA to Toronto. Just happened to be some old rich guy going up going, hello. that was fake. Turns out he stayed in LA, but going to the Dodgers. Now, this is interesting. And why it's interesting, not only is it the most expensive contract in sports history, eclipsing Lionel Messi's $673 million contract, I believe, which is insane in its own right. But this dude deferred almost all of it until after the contract is over. What? Yes. He's not getting paid $70 million a year for the next 10 years. Oh, no. He deferred it all to $2 million a year so the Dodgers can build around him. That's right. That's right. That's right, Chow Chad. A 10-year, $20 million contract with a lifetime pension. That is 100% correct. We have a Bobby Bonilla situation on our hand, people. It is insane. He's only going to get paid $2 million a year for the next 10 years for the Dodgers. And after that, from 2034 to 2043, the rest, the $680 million will be coming into his bank account. Talk about a retirement. What does that mean? Well, the Dodgers can build around him, Betts, and Freeman still. They could get some pitching. They need it. And maybe, just maybe, they could actually overcome the yips in the playoffs with Ohtani. But remember, he's not pitching for another year. He does have elbow injuries, multiple of them now. So we'll see how it all plays out. But the deferral really caught my eye more than these $700 million, which is, by the way, almost double Aaron Judge's $360 million. That's the second highest in baseball. All right, we'll move over to football. And I kind of want to talk about this. It happened yesterday, and a lot on this. It's been talked about all year, really. Is the absolute referee debacle this year has been. It's been very inconsistent. I can see it. I have eyes. We don't know what's a pass interference, what's not anymore. We can't review them anymore. That was a fun year, wasn't it? And what happened yesterday with the Tony lining up offsides? Now, clearly he was offsides. Okay? It's a penalty. If the defender lined up offsides and wasn't called, Patrick Mahomes would also have a meltdown. Right? If the defensive foot was over the line, like Tony's was. But Mahomes went out there and absolutely, and I mean absolutely, made a fool out of himself. This is the first time I've seen this guy who's held class, who's held character, but because they've been winning, and absolutely made a fool of himself. Not only did he have a meltdown at the end of the game, yelling at the ref, he went up to Josh Allen and said, that was both, man. That was, didn't even like give him a congratulations or whatever. With that, yelled at the ref some more, and then went on the, I want to say the stand like he's in court, but went on the podium and this sat there, and I want to say this as cleanly as I can without sounding crazy. He rubbed Travis Kelce the right way, if you know what I'm saying. He went up there and said, oh, what a Hall of Fame play by a Hall of Famer. That should have been, him lying offsides wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered if he was there, but it would have mattered if the defense was offsides, wouldn't it? He just had a meltdown about the refs. This is ridiculous. It never goes our way. It always goes your way. Everything has gone your way for the last 4 years. Every commercial is you and Travis Kelce. But the backside of this is Dan Orlovsky today went on Twitter, went on TV, showed some video that Tony had lined up offsides 5 times the same way before that play was called. 5 times in the same game. They never called it. That just goes to the inconsistency in the refs. So in a way, Mahomes was right. So where do we go from here? The refs need to get better, obviously. Right? But to go offsides 5 times and finally call it on that play. By the way, if that was an incomplete pass, I don't think it would have been blown up as much. Right? It was just the lateral, the hook and ladder play, or whatever. It was, and by the way, it was Tony, the one that caught the touchdown too, which makes it better. Overall, I agree with him. The refs have been very inconsistent this year, and some games have been absolutely terrible to watch. We don't know what hitting someone out of bounds is anymore. We don't know how these rules actually play. And you even have Gene Steratore coming in and say, I don't know, guys. Almost every game. So either find a way to do a college for refs or figure it out, but Tony was offsides. I saw the video, standing the same way 5 other times before that play. So Mahomes has a point. Doesn't mean he deserves the right to have an absolute meltdown, stroke off Travis Kelce for 20 minutes. But there we go. So, yeah, Chow Chad is up there going off. You're right. He was offside. He was standing above the ball. But again, there's video. Look up Dan Orlovsky's Twitter, or X, sorry, and it shows he was staying offside 5 times before that in the same game. So, just happened to be that play. But if it wasn't a touchdown, no one would have complained. I think that's the big ordeal behind the whole thing, if you look at it. But enough about that. Last night, we had a big game, the Eagles and the Cowboys. Sorry, this wasn't my idea to put cry, Eagles, cry. So are the Eagles in trouble? I look at it like this. Yeah, last night was bad. The loss to the 49ers was bad. Both the Cowboys and the 49ers look like better teams right now than the Eagles. However, you got to look at this. Look at the future. Look at the present. Look at the future, not the past. The 49ers are now the first seed in the NFC, right? Deservedly so. Look at the schedules these teams have left. Is it time to cry, Eagles cry? Maybe not. First of all, you still have the advantage in the division over the Cowboys, so you're still ahead of them, even though you have the same record. The Eagles' schedule the next 4 weeks: at Seahawks, winnable; at home against the Giants, very winnable; at home against the Cardinals, if you don't win, there's a problem; and at home and at the Giants again, or at the Giants, but this time in New York. Those are 4 winnable games. They just went through the gauntlet. The Eagles did. They just played the Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, Cowboys, all in a row. The gauntlet. And now that's what they have left. Win those 4 games, you win the NFC East, you could still be in a chance for a first seed overall. Here's why. Look at the Cowboys schedule. It's brutal. Brutal. They go to Buffalo, who Buffalo needs to win every game to just that mentality, playoffs start now. Then in Miami against the Dolphins, brutal. At home against the Lions, who may have something to play for. Brutal. And then at the Commanders, winnable, but still, they go 2-2. If they go 3-1, even and the Eagles win out, it's gone. And even the 49ers, they're at Arizona next week, winnable. At home against the Ravens, not so winnable. 49ers, Commanders, Rams, 49ers. So, the 49ers falter in that Ravens game. And Philadelphia wins out. Philadelphia's number 1 seed. So, it's not time to panic, Eagles fans. It's not time to panic. However, there is a place you should panic. Houston, we have a problem. That's right. Everybody, CJ Stroud, Rookie of the Year, maybe an MVP conversation. Then things are just starting to go off the rail right now, injury-wise. Tank Dell last week, out for the year. Wow. Nico Collins, well, he'll step right in. Ooh. 1 catch, gets over 1,000 yards. He gone. We didn't know for how long. And then CJ Stroud, concussion in the game as well, leaving not a whole lot of offense there. For this Houston team. They have an injury problem right now. I don't know if CJ Stroud will be able to get back into the game or this week, really. Nico Collins, I mean, we'll see what happens with CJ, but Nico Collins kind of worries me even more because he became the number 1 guy. It was a calf injury for Nico Collins. I'm not sure if he'll miss any time, but it looks like he'll be a little slow, maybe miss 1 week, but be back. But they need to win now because as we go, as I'm going to say shortly, the playoff picture in the AFC is insane, absolutely insane. So we'll see what happens. But for the time, it's going to be Noah Brown and Robert Woods, Brevin Jordan, because Dalton Schultz is injured too. Remember that. And we'll see if Davis Mills can get a win this weekend. If CJ, our boy CJ Stroud here by Night Rants, doesn't get a chance to get into the game. Man, right after Heavy T on this show said he thinks Houston's going to go to the AFC Championship game, pew, the curse. He cursed them. Heavy T, you cursed them. You cursed them all. More injuries. A really, really bad week for injuries this week, too. Obviously, the Justin Jefferson injury. You got him back just in time for fantasy football playoffs, and he was forced out with a chest injury. Actually had to go to the hospital. Was taken to a hospital during that game. It was more of a health issue than more of a true football injury, it seems. And he was released, was able to travel home. But I don't know if he'll be able to take the field in week 15. Probably not. And it would be kind of wise of them to maybe have him just sit out the rest of the year and come back next year for multiple reasons. But let's not get crazy here. Let's not ruin a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent here trying to force him back on the field after what happened, what we saw yesterday. It's just not right. And I would be more inclined to just have him sit out the rest of the year, to be honest. Just get him healthy again for next year. See what happens with the quarterback situation, because right now it ain't working at all with Dobbs and Mullins. So just, I know you're still in that playoffs, or you're right there below a playoff spot, but are you going to win? No, it's time to punt. And that's what I would do if I were them. Some of the big injuries that happened over the weekend too was Josh Jacobs from the Raiders with a knee injury. He struggled to find any room running. Well, really, nobody could find any room doing anything in the 3-0 game, by the way. I'm sorry to all of you who had to witness that. It was rough. I was hoping it would go 0-0, like just to see history. A 0-0 tie would be really fun. But sure enough, the Minnesota found a way to pull it off. And here we are talking about Minnesota in a playoff hunt when they should be not. But that's the NFL this year for you. What can you say? Josh Jacobs, probably a multi-week injury. Wouldn't be surprised at this point with the way the Raiders look right now. He's obviously not playing Thursday night against the Chargers. Wouldn't be surprised if he was done for maybe the season. On the other side of that Thursday night matchup, Justin Herbert, he ain't playing. First, it was his left index finger. Now it's his right index finger. Unfortunately, it was a break. And Easton Stick is going to be quarterbacking the Chargers on Thursday night in a game that nobody wants to see. Like I said, the Raiders and the Chargers. Oof, oof. I'm a Chargers fan. I'm going to be finding something else to do. Yeah, it's bad. I would say at this point, I would do the same thing if I'm the Chargers. First of all, they need to fire Brandon Staley off the bat and just sit Herbert out and figure it out for next year. Like you're not going anywhere. You're not going to make the playoffs. Just let it go. And it's tough to watch this team with so much talent just not know how to use it and implode. Absolutely implode on a weekly basis. It's been 2 years of this now. 3 years of this. It's gross. And quite frankly, I don't like it. All right. Real quick with the playoff picture before we get some college football action with Felix Sharp of Campus to Canton. The playoff picture right now is muddled, and I mean muddled to say the least. It is absolutely the weirdest I have ever seen it in a very long time. In the AFC, you have the Ravens, the number 1 seed right now. The Dolphins may have a lot to say to that. The Chiefs, after losing, go to the 3rd seed. The Jaguars still in that 4th seed, but hanging on by a. And you got the Browns in 5th. We'll see how long that lasts, but we've been saying that for 3 weeks now, but here we are. And Joe Flacco, by the way. Joe Flacco. Yes, it's 2023, and we're talking about Joe Flacco is slinging it. Very, very impressive, to say the least. The Steelers, we saw what they could do. They're in the 6th seed now. I'll talk to Thomas Stevens about that later in the show, but there's no way this holds. They look absolutely miserable, and I don't think they will end up being that playoff spot. The Colts in the 7 seed, again, a team I'm not very confident in. That's how crazy it is this year, by the way. Then you got this run of Texans, Broncos, Bengals, and Bills, all 7-6. I think the Chargers, Raiders, Jets, Titans, and the Patriots have already been eliminated anyways. They're done. I really like, obviously, I think the Bills will find a way to sneak in, and they're going to be a dangerous team in the playoffs. And obviously, somebody else has to too, right? We'll see what happens with C.J. Stroud and the Texans here. I like them as the favorite, but you can't count out the Broncos. You can't. They got a pretty good schedule here coming up. They got to play the Chargers. Okay, there's a win. Again. And I'm going to count out the Broncos of being my team to kind of sneak into that 7 seed over the Colts when it's all said and done. On the Western side of things, it's a mess. Just like the NFC side of things. It's a mess. The 49ers, Cowboys, Lions, all there, right? And the Eagles. We kind of expect all 4 of those teams to make it. The Buccaneers at 6-7 will have the 4 seed in this awful NFC South, which is just, and I mean, not fun to watch at all. But hey, Baker Mayfield is kind of making football fun again in Tampa Bay, huh? So there you go. One of those teams has to win between, I think, the Falcons and the Buccaneers. And then you got the Packers here, who 7-7 currently in this game, need to win this game to stay in it. I like this team to make the playoffs. I really do. And the Vikings, I think they kind of fiddle out because I don't think they should bring Jefferson back after what happened yesterday. I think it's either going to be the Rams or the Seahawks to take that last spot. And I'm going to go ahead and say, because I've seen the Seahawks play recently, that the Rams have a chance really to sneak into that 7th spot. It's McVay, it's Stafford. This team has done it before. Nakua, Kupp, Kyron Williams, just they're a better team right now overall, even with a defense where you can't name anyone's name other than Aaron Donald, than the Seahawks. So it's kind of how I figure this is going to go. We'll see, though. There's still 4 weeks after this and a lot to play for. But what a weird playoff picture that, okay, nobody, not even an octopus in Germany, could figure this one out this year. And I absolutely love it. So there you go. All right. That was the rant lines. Shut up for the rant lines. We're going to take a quick, 2-minute little break. We got to show you a little video from another show. And then when we come back, my boy, Felix Sharp, Campus to Ken, we're going to talk college football. I know, Chad, you were in the chat, want to talk some transfer portal. Well, guess what? We're going to be talking the transfer portal. Chaos in the transfer portal this year. I love it. More on that later. But more on that. We're going to see what Felix likes to win the national championship. Maybe he agrees with me. Maybe he disagrees. And some players that could be coming out in the NFL draft, not named Caleb Williams and Drake May, who could be eyes on the prize of your Dynasty Fantasy Football Leagues next year if you have a later pick in your drafts. After the break, Felix Sharp, Campus Canton, college football, baby. Boom.
I like to eat my feelings. So when I'm super sad, single serving pint sizes of Ben and Jerry's, I just start shoveling that in, and it makes me feel bigger and better. But so let's eat our feelings here. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk football players, food. We're gonna pair them up. Who is represented by what food? All right, I want to just shout out Hal Alexander in there for CMC, Christian McCaffrey, is Rocky Road ice cream. A little bit of everything.
Yeah,
does it?
Good Hal.
I like it, man. You know it. I love me some Rocky Road ice cream. Bijan Robinson prime rib. You know what? Bijan Robinson prime rib with a baked potato and some cream spinach on the side. That's what I'm talking about. That is the King's dinner. And Bijan Robinson, I don't care if the dude from The Athletic says only 301, touches. You know what? In honor of Card Sharks, I'm going to say, guys, that I think that number is going to be a little bit higher there for Bijan Robinson. So get your knife, get your fork, you got your steak, you got your Bijan.
Yeah, that's what's up. You're on death row, and they say you get one last meal, and you just say Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I'm totally down with that. Love it.
I got to jump in on one real quick because Mr. Scamper said Kareem Hunt is candy corn, and I actually had a player, Tyler Boyd, was going to be candy corn for me, and basically it's that nobody likes it. but it's always there. It's always there, and somebody always puts their hand in and grabs some and has some, and they're like, well, and afterwards they're like, why did I eat that? That's Tyler Boyd. He always gets drafted, and he's just kind of there, and nobody knows why. Nobody knows why they take him. Nobody knows where it comes from. Where does the candy corn even come from? Like, it's just there. It's just there.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network at Fantasy Alarm, as well on all your favorite social media platforms. Joining me now, Felix Sharp at Sharp Review of Campus and Canton. What's going on, Felix? Oh, you're on mute. I can't hear you, bud.
I promise I'm a professional.
Okay.
I promise.
All right.
I have lots of experience doing this, but appreciate you having me on. We got 2 games on tonight. A lot of stuff going on in the transfer portal in college football. December has become, a really busy month if you are playing in our format in Campus to Canton leagues, if you're following college football. So, yeah, glad to talk to you about it.
Yeah, have you? I've been talking obviously for the last half an hour. Is Tyreek Hill back in the game, or is he still on the sideline? Do you know what's going on with that? Is he?
I have no idea. I was actually reacting to Dylan Royola, who was the number 1 quarterback in the class. You remember longtime Lions center Dominic Royola, the undersized center there. It's his son, who's number 1 quarterback in the class. He is committed to Georgia, or had been committed to Georgia. It seems like that is changing here. So that's big news in our space, and that's what I had been kind of diving into the last 45 minutes or so.
Well, that's what you do, so I can't blame you there. Real quick, tell everyone, I kind of explained it early in the show about what you guys do. I love it, and I am in next year. I don't know how I can do it, what strings I have to pull, how much money I need to pay, what prank I need to do. I'm in, so get me in. But explain to everybody what it is you guys do over there at Campus Canton.
Absolutely. So Campus to Canton is the name of our website, and it's the name of the fantasy football format. Everyone's familiar with Dynasty Fantasy Football if you're watching this show. Well, Campus to Canton is Dynasty Fantasy Football that extends into the college ranks. So you have a full college roster and a full NFL roster. You're setting lineups for both sides of your league. And then when your college players declare for the NFL draft, they're added to your NFL team. So, last year I made a trade where I traded Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. and got back like Nick Chubb, Stephon Diggs, Kyler Murray. I mean, it's really a lot of fun. And if you enjoy the game, if you enjoy football, if you enjoy evaluations, I've been talking about Michael Penix Jr. since 2020 when he was in Indiana. And now he's the Heisman Trophy runner-up. Who's probably going to be a day 2 NFL draft pick. If you like following journeys like that, then you would love a Campus to Canton football league. And what our site provides is the rankings, tools, data analysis. We do a whole freshman magazine. I mean, just go check out the website.
Do it.
We have everything that you need to play in this format.
Yeah, well, good, because I'll be having to check it out next week because I'm in, babe. Let's go. I love it.
Absolutely.
So, who's had to sweat out Bo Nix for 7 years?
Right. I mean, all the quarterbacks, if you look at the quarterbacks who made the Heisman ceremony there.
Yep.
All 5th-year players. In the case of Michael Penix Jr., a 6th-year player, and all transfer quarterbacks. So, I mean, it's a new era in college football. But I think if we were going to compare quarterbacking to taking a Scantron test, remember when you used to fill in the little bubbles, A, B,
how can I forget?
Yes. I mean, in the case of some quarterbacks, they completed the test. They got all the right answers. It just took them 5 times to do it. And that's the case of Bo Nix. In some respects, in the case of Jaden Daniels, who actually won the Heisman Trophy, started in 2019 with Herm Edwards. I mean, he just took that many times to get the test right. And now he has. I don't think the NFL is going to care and say, it took him 5 times to get it right. They'll take his last test, and he's going to end up being, a top 15 draft pick or something like that, and probably a top 5 draft pick in Dynasty Rookie Draft.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's crazy because like the era too in the NFL of not starting your rookie quarterback for 3 years, having him under somebody is over, right? So just the fact that they're a little bit older probably is even better for them in a way, because if they're a high draft pick, they're going to start. Look at Will Levis right now. Will Levis starting right now. Like it's the new nature of the NFL. So Jordan Love, maybe the last one of those.
Will Levis starting right now, or if you look at a player like Sam Howell at North Carolina, he
I'm
started
high on
all
him
3
too.
years. I am too. I mean, we all thought he was good. I mean, he was projected to go. If you remember that offseason, the projected number 1 and number 2 all pick were Spencer Rattler and Sam Howell. People forget that. Spencer Rattler, of course, now with South Carolina, is declared for the NFL draft. But yeah, I mean, Sam Howell got a lot of starts. These guys who are entering the NFL draft this year, whether it be Caleb Williams, Drake May, they've gotten a lot of starts too, but there are some guys behind them. Michael Penix Jr., a lot of starts, so a lot of experience. They should be more comfortable.
Let's pump the brakes on that a bit. Let's pump the brakes. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's get into the transfers real quick. Some transfer names here on my list I want to talk about. Some big names here. What a chaotic year for transfers. I thought last year it was just getting worse and worse this year, especially with quarterbacks.
Better and better.
The quarterback carousel is absolutely off the charts this year. One name already has a home, it seems, and Dylan Gabriel, who's leaving Oklahoma to go to Oregon, which will seemingly replace Bo Nix. And I saw today that Ty Thompson has already transferred out as well because of it. So thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, let's go to Ty Thompson here, who started, I want to say, Ty Thompson did go to Oregon. I was thinking of another player who started at Miami. But Ty Thompson, a good player in his own right. We've seen him flash in some spring games here. He's gone. Austin Novosad will now be the bridge. Dylan Gabriel will serve as the bridge to Austin Novosad. But we see Dan Lanning, keep a veteran quarterback to keep that team competitive as they go into the Big Ten. Dylan Gabriel started at UCF with Jeff Levy as his offensive coordinator there under Josh Heupel, goes with Jeff Levy to Oklahoma, has an excellent season, and now he's at Oregon. Kind of got pushed out there. Kind of got pushed out of OU, it seems, because we're very, very high on Jackson Arnold there at Oklahoma. The easiest way I think to describe Jackson Arnold is he kind of reminds me of a Matt Corral without the recklessness or pure arm strength that Matt Corral had. But you're talking about a slightly undersized quarterback, around 6'1", about 6 foot 6'1", can move a lot. There's a throw on his high school tape that was my favorite throw of this class, where it's one of those Aaron Rodgers things where he's avoiding pressure and he kind of jumps in the air, his feet are off the ground, and he still throws the ball 20 yards down the field. So we're very high on Jackson Arnold. I'm assuming that he's going to start the bowl game. They play in the Alamo Bowl, I think, on December 28th or 29th against
he should, yeah.
Arizona. There's going to be a lot of points scored in that game. So
Arizona surprise team this year for sure, and looking good.
Oh yeah,
going into
Arizona. If you haven't been paying attention, Coach Fish over there is really doing his thing, and they're going to continue to ascend the next year. I know we're talking about this year's rookie draft, but in the 2025 rookie draft, Teteroa McMillan is going to be a first-round pick, on the Drake London scale spectrum. 6'5" guy who can move. Teteroa McMillan is going to be a top 10 dynasty rookie in 2025.
Man, I could sit here and talk college football with you for the next 3 hours. I know my viewers don't want that, but man, I love it. It's so knowledgeable.
They will eventually. We gotta teach them.
Yeah, makes me smile, man. I love this. Everything you're saying is fantastic. By the way, Oregon, the most prepared to go into the Big Ten, in my opinion, next year, coaching wise and everything. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I think Gabriel will have a great year as well. Okay, let's go into some quarterbacks who have maybe not decided yet. Obviously, the big one is Aiden Childs. I've heard Michigan State rumors. I think he visited with Michigan State. Do you think that's where he goes, or do you think he goes somewhere else? He's obviously a big name in college football.
He is a big name. We actually talked to Aiden this past offseason going into Oregon State. So he's a big fan of Jonathan Smith, very loyal to Jonathan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I think Oregon State was like the first big school to offer him. Now, a little bit of context on Aiden Childs. So Aiden Childs was backing up Lincoln Riley's five-star freshman, Malachi Nelson, at Los Alamitos. Of course, he didn't beat out Malachi Nelson, so he transferred to Downey High School there in California, and that's where he ended up starting. I think if this guy would have had 3 or 4 years to start, he would have been a 5-star himself. Completed over 70% of his passes as Jonathan Smith kind of let him have this, Tim Tebow / Chris Leak relationship with DJ Uiagalelei, getting in there in spot duty. We saw him have a long rushing touchdown. Just a kid with a really good head on his shoulders, all the physical tools that you could need. And, it looks like he is. And you're right. He did. He visited East Lansing, a place that I spent time in as a young adult. He visited East Lansing earlier this week. I think what's today? Today, or maybe last week, Friday. Friday was in East Lansing. So I would expect him to land at Michigan State. The only question is what offensive weapons are they going to have around them? They got a senior who's going to graduate. They've got one of their leading receivers who entered the transfer portal and looks like he might be headed to Pitt or something like that. There's some wide receivers in the transfer portal too. But, I would expect Jonathan Smith to get it together. Jonathan Smith spent time as Chris Peterson's offensive coordinator at Boise State, and then his offensive coordinator at Washington with who? Jake Browning, John Ross, those guys. You remember John Ross, becoming a first-round pick, number 9 overall, after running that 4.22. Who was the offensive coordinator? Jonathan Smith there at Washington. So, I would hope that Aiden gets some help there for the Spartans. But it looks like I think his crystal ball is like 100%
pretty
Michigan State, even though he hasn't committed yet.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Another big name that's already will be on his third team, and he's still a freshman. Dante Moore. Or I guess he would not be a freshman. He'd be a sophomore.
Second team. But he did commit to Oregon and transferred, and then decommitted and went to UCLA.
To Chip Kelly, and now he's off again.
Speaking of the Michigan connection, he's from Detroit King.
That's what I'm thinking is Michigan.
Yeah. So, it looks like. All right, let's back up here because I know that everybody might not understand who Dante Moore is. This last freshman quarterback class with Arch Manning, headlining it, it was deep as far as the quarterbacks go. Dante Moore was one of those guys. Yep. He was originally committed to Oregon, decommitted, and went to Chip Kelly at UCLA. For my money, he was the most game-ready quarterback in that class as far as anticipating windows, not turning the ball over. I'm not using this as a pejorative, but he was a game manager in the best way possible. Taking open shots, knocking them down, doing these small things well. Went to UCLA. He was fine, in my opinion. Now, he had a streak there, 3 games in a row where he threw pick sixes. You can't do that. That's kind of why he was pulled. But he showed the flashes that we saw at Detroit King on Ford Field. He played 2 or 3 state championships there for Detroit King. Started as an 8th grader, excuse me. We saw the flashes that we saw at Detroit King. We saw flashes at UCLA. Why we had him rated so high. And, now it's a question of where he's going to end up. My understanding is that he wants to be closer to home. Home for him and closer to family is Detroit. You got Michigan. Ohio State also has an opening there after Kyle McCord has entered the transfer portal.
It's true.
I would love to see him end up at Ohio State because I think it's a play style fit. Ryan
I agree
Day,
with you there. Yep.
Yeah, Ryan Day likes quarterbacks to be efficient. He doesn't like his quarterbacks to improvise that much. He wants them to get the ball out of their hands. That's what Dante Moore is. In Columbus to Detroit, in that long of a drive, he can be relatively close to home. So it looks like, if I had to handicap this, the favorite would be Michigan, but man, I would really like to see him with Ryan Day at Ohio.
One of those guys is going to get this next quarterback. If the other one doesn't get Dante Manning, I'm Dante Manning. Sorry, Dante Moore. I'm in Oregon right now. Dante Manning plays cornerback for Oregon. Cam Ward.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard rumors of him going to Ohio State, and that would be interesting as well. Kind of going back to their old early 2000 days with the mobile quarterback and would be a lot of fun. Do you think
Braxton Miller. Yeah, it would be Braxton. So again, I'm going to assume that the audience is not as familiar with, especially on the West Coast, Cam Ward, who came from FCS Incarnate Ward with his offensive coordinator Eric Morris, who is a Mike Leach disciple. So you're talking about a guy who's raised in kind of the spread system.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Ward is an improviser on the Johnny Manziel.
100%.
Loves to get back there and scramble. His big weakness. No, okay. Let me back up again. He has great arm talent as far as throwing off platform and improvising. While he does all that scrambling, he does it to pass. He doesn't do it to run. His big weakness coming into this season was his deep ball accuracy. I wish I had the stats in front of me to show where he has improved. But he has improved dramatically in that respect. Now, Washington also improved their wide receiver core.
Yes.
Washington State improved their wide receiver core last year. But he has improved in that respect tenfold. And so now it looks like he wants to get his shot to be, a first-round NFL draft pick. And I've always thought that if you have an elite trait, you have the potential to be, a high draft capital player. For quarterbacks, it could be raw arm strength. It could be mobility. It could be speed. It could be all of those things. In the case of Anthony Richardson, he had all of those things. It was very high on him. In the case of Cam Ward, he is elite at the pocket escaping, avoiding pressure, and all of that stuff. Can he become above average throwing the ball downfield and keep that consistency while keeping that consistency in the intermediate game? If he does, I don't see why a GM or a coach says, you know what, we probably could build something around what this guy can do, because he absolutely has that talent. He just wants to show it one more year on a bigger spotlight, under a bigger program. And so that's why I would think that Ohio State would be the right landing spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, but he's had there have been no whispers or rumors about he's visiting Ohio State. That Ryan Day talks to him. There's been none of that. As a matter of fact, I think that if I remember correctly, I think Cam Ward may have narrowed his selections down. And it did not include Ohio State. I cannot remember that off the top of my head. I'll look into it. But you're right. As far as quarterbacks go, Cam Ward is right up there at the top of the guys in the transfer portal. And if you haven't watched a lot of Washington State football,
I have. I'm a Pac-12 fan, or was a Pac-12.
There you go. There you go. Then I recommend that that you go ahead.
He's a mini Lamar Jackson.
I would say he's a mini Johnny Manziel. I'm trying to think of another quarterback.
You can't be a mini Johnny Manziel. That's impossible. Although Johnny Manziel had one of the best college careers of all time, so I guess we got to give him some credit where credit is due, for sure. Are there any running backs in the transfer portal that you're looking at here? I know Trevor Etienne's a big one out of Florida, and maybe Raleek Brown at a USC. Any one of these guys that you're sick can go to replace, and maybe I think Raleek Brown going to Oregon could be a possibility as well after Bucky Irving goes to the NFL.
If you were going to profile Raleek Brown as to what, role he could have, Bucky Irving would be a good comp for him, even though I don't know that he is the interior runner that Bucky Irving could be coming out of, I think he was either at Modern Day or St. John Bosco, one of those big powerhouse schools in California. We were not the biggest fans of Raleek Brown coming out. I think I even said that he profiles as the receiving end of a running back by committee, and then what happened at USC? He switched positions to wide receiver. Mm-hmm. So he's one. But a name that you didn't say that I really like that's kind of off the beaten path is George Pettaway, transferring from North Carolina. So he backed up the ACC's leading rusher, Amari and Hampton. They came in together at North Carolina. As a matter of fact, George Pettaway enrolled before Amari and Hampton did, and it looked like George Pettaway was going to be the starter. I think this last year the season started that way. George Pettaway has a 3-down skill set. He can catch the ball. He can run. He has versatility. And if it were not for Amari and Hampton, I think that he would be kind of sharing the touches in another backfield. So that would be another name that I would be watching out for is North Carolina George Pettaway.
Yeah, North Carolina always seems to have a two-headed running back monster, don't they? Like for the last 10 years, it's crazy, and that all seems to work out.
Devontae Williams, Michael Carter for those two.
Exactly. Wide receivers out there. London Humphreys is obviously the big one, probably on the board. Looks like he's going to Georgia. I would be surprised if he didn't go to Georgia at this point. Are there any other ones there? Maybe Wells or Burks or Fleming or Merriweather that you're looking at that could be a big impact in the going somewhere next year as at the receiver? Michigan State's looking for receivers.
Yeah, Michigan State is looking for receivers. So Rico Flores Jr. Ed, are you in California? Do you know, you Pac-12? Okay, so Rico Flores Jr. went to Folsom. Folsom is in
For
the
Jake
Kennedy
Browning
Youth.
went to school too.
That's exactly right. So Jake Browning went to Folsom. Folsom actually had a really great program. They have a tight end there who broke his leg like in the middle of the season last season, who I think was a Stanford commit, but also Austin Mack, who reclassified quarterback, is at Washington right now, backing up Michael Penix Jr. Rico Flores was there, who was the leading pass catcher amongst wide receivers at Notre Dame as a freshman. He's in the transfer portal. And then Ontario Smith Jr. That Ontario Smith of the Minnesota Vikings was also in that class at Folsom. I think he's at Sacramento State now. Mm-hmm. But Rico Flores would be the name that I would, just pay attention to because of how successful he was last season. And again, for a Notre Dame team that underachieved, didn't have a lot of passing volume, but this true freshman, and there are some upperclassmen on that roster in the wide receiver room. This true freshman led the Fighting Irish in reception. So he's in the transfer portal. I kind of wonder if he could end up in Washington with his former quarterback, Austin Mack. Washington are probably going to lose Rome Odunze.
Oh, yeah.
They might lose Jalen McMillan, even though Jalen McMillan was hurt this year. And then Jalen Polk is there. I think Jalen Polk can make the jump to the NFL. If I am a wide receiver or a quarterback, there's like a handful of teams that I would want to play for. Steve Sarkisian is right there because he did with that team at Alabama with Mac Jones and Jalen Waddle and Jerry Jeudy and Devonta Smith. It was an explosive offense. I would put Lincoln Riley up there because he's Lincoln Riley. And then Kalen DeBoer would be right there for me. Kalen DeBoer at Washington has done so much with less, from his time at Indiana to his time at Fresno State, now his time at Washington.
I live in Fresno, by the way.
Listen, I can tell. Well, I was watching that Fresno State UCLA game in the car on my phone because
not driving. I hope not driving. I hope.
No, I was not. I was actually the designated driver that night. Believe it or not. So I was sitting in the car waiting for my friends and watched Jake Hayner on one leg beat number 13 UCLA in their own house. I'd already been a Jake Hayner fan up until to that point. But anyway, back to Kalen DeBoer. He's done more with less. And so I think that if he hasn't had the prospects that Lincoln Riley or Steve Sarkisian has had at quarterback, and has still had them produce at really elite level, right there along with his wide receiver corps. So if I'm a wide receiver, I would want to end up in that offense. And I think the question was before I went on this diatribe was who else? Rico Flores, and I kind of want to watch.
Okay, perfect. Love it. By the way, more transfer names, everything you're on top of it on your X account. I can't say Twitter anymore. I keep on getting in trouble for that. X, not to be, X, whatever. At your X account at Sharp Review, you're all over it, man. I'm always on it, seeing what's going on with your highlights on the transfers of what you're seeing out of kids in high school before they get actually on a college team. It's good stuff there. But let's talk about real quick before I let you go. We got about 5 minutes left, so let's be quick here. Name a quarterback, not name Williams, Caleb Williams, or May. By the way, I'm not that high on Caleb Williams personally. There's something with him that bugs me a little bit, and I don't think he's there. And I like Drake May, but who we've talked about Penix. Obviously, there's Daniels, there's Bo Nix, all 5th year, 6th year seniors. Is there another quarterback like what we're seeing with Sam Howell or some of these other ones like a Purdy that could be the next big thing, QB1 in the NFL that no one's really paying attention to? Oh, we lost your volume again.
Again, perfect. Super professional.
It's Monday, man. It's Monday night. It's all good.
I am so good at this. Okay. Again, I'd have to throw out the name Michael Pratt out of Tulane, who had started as a true freshman there, nearly led them to a conference championship that first year. If you remember, who's Zaven Collins, the linebacker for Arizona, their high draft pick. He was competing against that Tulsa team there at Tulane. It's funny because we saw him start as a true freshman. His mechanics were terrible. He was reckless. And he's just steadily improved. Now, people are going to remember you mentioned Caleb Williams. He beat that Caleb Williams USC team last year in the bowl game. I think that was Cotton Bowl or Alamo Bowl, what have you. But he nearly beat them the year prior at OU. At OU, Spencer Rattler, Lincoln Riley, they nearly upset Oklahoma,
Yeah.
that season, this dude is a gamer. Can he be inaccurate? Absolutely. But he has an extremely strong arm. He has an NFL caliber arm, NFL caliber heart, I would say. A guy who's not going to slide when he's taking tackles, a guy that would be a fan favorite. So if you got to have some things to work with, and Michael Pratt has a lot of them. Consistency, not always there, but from a tool standpoint, I would have to throw out Michael Pratt's name on a team.
Sounds a little bit like Josh Allen to me, what a lot of people said about him coming out. Look how he's grown. And he now finally slides. Thank goodness Josh Allen finally slides. Real quick before I let you go, college football championship. Who wins? Who are the two in the finals and who wins?
I want to see Washington win because, again, I've been following Michael Penix Jr. and tweeting about Michael Penix Jr. for 3.5 years now. But I think that Michigan is so suffocating in a boring way. I think that they can take the air out of the ball and play good defense. Now it'll be hard to, and defense I think is going to win this championship. So I'm probably going to go there with Michigan playing a style that's not particularly sexy, but Jim Harbaugh gets his national championship.
You think Alabama and Michigan, what kind of game is that going to be? That's going to be a fun one, isn't it?
A boring one. No.
Yes, but it'll be close.
I mean, it'll be fun to me because we're talking about a 21-17 type game, in my opinion, with those two. Actually, any game that Michigan is in, I think that we're talking about that type of score. So if you like, tough defensive football in, one possession games, yes. But if you like passing a lot of points, it's not going to be a fun national championship.
That's why you have the Washington-Texas game if you liked a lot of points in the passing, baby.
That would be excellent. That would be excellent, Washington and Texas.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I actually have Texas playing Michigan in the championship, and I kind of want to. I haven't made my final prediction yet, but I'm kind of leaning towards Texas, and I have some reasons why. But we'll have to save that for another show, people. You got to come back and watch to find out why. And there you go. All right, man. Hey, it's been a pleasure. I have so much more I need to pick with your brain, man. But we'll save that for another night. Please tell everyone once again where to find you, what you guys do, and how to get involved over there at Campus to Canton.
Find me on YouTube. How about that at Campus to Canton? Campus to Canton's YouTube page. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers.
Get them to 3,000, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, help us get there. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube page.
There you go. Felix, thank you so much. Hey, enjoy the bowl games. Enjoy the chaos transfer portal. I'm sure we'll be talking about some college football via DM and on X soon. And enjoy the championship and get ready for next year already, right? It comes quicker than you can think. All right, brother. It was nice talking to you. We'll have you on again. Enjoy your night. We'll talk soon. All right. Felix Sharp, Campus to Canton. Love it. Absolutely love it. I don't know what's going on here. I got to re-invite Thomas here. No heavy tea, man. Things go off the rails here. So heavy tea is Thomas is waiting for me to get on so we do Rants on the Street when we come back from the break. We're going to talk a little NBA action. Well, live looks into these football games. A very interesting score in one of them that you're going to want to know about and more on Monday Night Rants. After the break, Rants on the Street, Thomas Stevens. Boom.
The Bears have to be one of the most inept franchises of any sport I've ever seen in my entire life. And they share the city with the White Sox, who are also inept. Like, that is how bad the Bears are. I just don't understand how you can go your entire existence and the quarterback that wins you a Super Bowl is Jim McMahon. You couldn't find anybody else.
They don't have a good history with quarterbacks, but they let him be the quarterback for a long time, too.
Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes right there. Mm-hmm. And you drafted Mitch Trubisky. They were right there. I there's a lot of pain in being a Falcons fan. The Bears are one of the teams I could argue they might have it worse, and they have a Super Bowl. And when the best quarterback in the past 50 years is Jay Cutler, you have a problem.
That's so funny that you just said that. We were talking about Jay Cutler the other day, me and my friend, and I was like, yeah, he was on, because we were watching the Colorado Rockies game against the Giants, and it looked like he was behind the thing. I was, yeah, well, he played for Denver most of his career. We looked it up. Chicago let him be their starting quarterback way too long.
Here's the thing too, is that Jay Cutler wasn't bad. Like, he was erratic. He wasn't terrible though.
The poor man's Brett Favre.
I'm taking him over Justin Fields. I'm sorry.
I would.
But
yeah.
Jay Cutler led that team to an NFC title game.
Yeah.
That they lost to Green Bay. But he's gotten farther than anybody else. You want to know who the other starting quarterback was for the Bears in the other Super Bowl appearance they made? It was Rex Grossman. What are we doing out here? It was Rex Grossman, and Kyle Orton was the backup. How are you that bad? Bro, like, oh my God. Listen to the top 5. According to Football Reference, the top 5 greatest Bears quarterbacks of all time. Jay Cutler, number 1.
I can't believe it.
Sid Luckman, who last played in 1950, is number 2. Jim Harbaugh is number 3. Jim McMahon, the Super Bowl winner, is number 4, and he played there for 6 years. And Mitch Trubisky,
no way,
is number 5 on the list as terms of passing yards go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network, at Better Network, at all your favorite social media platforms, at Fantasy Alarm as well, at Fantasy Alarm, at all your favorite social media platforms. Big shout out and thank you to Felix Sharp for joining me from Campus to Canton. That was a lot of fun. Again, I love college football, and man, that guy is full of knowledge, and I cannot wait to get into that dynasty where you start all the way from their high school all the way to NFL. It is an insane platform. I love everything they're doing over there. I can't wait. You know what else I can't wait for?
What's up?
The next question on Bettercast.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Both games going on right now. It's 10-7 in both games. Tennessee over Miami with Tyreek Hill still staying on the sideline with no helmet. And 10-7 Green Bay over the Giants here as well. We'll see how it all plays out in the end. But why I mentioned Bettercast, you can go on Bettercast right now, answer questions live during the game, and have a lot of fun, win prizes, win tickets. I won a big prize on the Bendercast last week, so I could trade that in for an autographed memorabilia. You know,
yes, sir.
autographed Charger stuff, which is on clearance. But the big news I want to share with you, Thomas, and everyone else out there, is that tomorrow at 4 o'clock Pacific, so 7 o'clock Eastern, for all you Easters out there who watch the show. By the way, shout out Sports Nut Nick. Welcome back to the show. A fellow rancher said Padres should trade Tatis. Okay. But I'm going to be doing a live trivia contest tomorrow. We just talked to Felix about college football. I'm going to be hosting a live trivia contest on the Bettercast app tomorrow night for your chance to win tickets to get autographed memorabilia and more from Fanatics. It's free to play. I'm going to be the host. I've already written all the questions. They're a lot of fun. It's bowl game trivia on like the New Year's 6 bowls. So going back to who was the first team to win certain bowls, certain plays that are memorable, what players had the best games. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, it's only about 15 to 20 minutes. That's it. So it doesn't take you a full game like this. It's very easy. You get to see my pretty face as I ask you questions and you answer them live in the chat and try to win. And I'll be in there answering questions in the chat as well and having a lot of fun with you guys. So tomorrow on Bettercast, that's bettercast.app. It's free to download. Get it now. Apple, Google, wherever you got, it's there. Join me tomorrow for some bowl game trivia as I host it live. It's going to be fun. I know you'll be there.
I'll be there for sure.
Yeah, you
I'm not missing out on signed
I'm
autograph.
not giving you the questions though. You got to play fair and square. Yeah, so join me on the Bettercast app tomorrow night. Sure. We're going to have a lot of fun doing that. Will Levis throw a touchdown in the second half? No. Got my question in on the Bettercast app just like that. All right. Well, welcome back at Better Thomas. No heavy tea tonight because he's in your favorite place, the happiest place on earth, Disneyland. I don't know what is it with you guys.
I don't go there very
doing this show. We had like this dinner where I went down to LA and we all met each other because I was going to Disneyland. And both of you said, man, we haven't been to Disneyland forever. And magically in the last year, you both have gone like 3 times. On Mondays.
I know. I know that is a little coincidental. I forgot about that. I have gone more this year, I swear.
Yeah,
Probably
I know.
since I've been young. My friend, his girlfriend gets easy tickets to Disneyland, so he got a connect this year that we've never had in our friend group. So it helps out.
It is the happiest place on this. What do you know? Saquon
pretty
Barkley
waiting on those
touchdown
lines.
right now, his second touchdown of the game. 13, soon to be 14, hopefully 10 over the Green Bay, which I need Jordan Love to do something here in some fantasy league. And Tyreek Hill is absolutely killing me on the other side. He's not back in the game. All right. I want to say congratulations. Did you go and buy all the championship gear? Did you buy the championship hat and the shirt and the poster and everything for your Lakers winning the in-season tournament championship? I'm sure you did.
I think maybe 90% of Laker fans definitely did. I saw some comments where I know they were headed to the store to buy some stuff. I did not. This is not the real thing. You know my opinion on the in-season tournament. You know, I love that we won it. It's cool. It's, brings the team
what's
together.
Cooler, the bubble championship or the in-season tournament championship?
You got to go with the bubble. 100%. Got to go with the bubble. In-season is it blows my mind still to this day, but it is what it is. And listen, we won it, so I'm definitely more happy with the in-season tournament than I would have been if we didn't win it. But
yeah, let's take all these injury-prone players and give them an extra game. That's
the only reason I will say, it was cool to see is a lot of those players that don't play. That are getting $500,000 a year. Their salaries just got up to over $1 million. So I do think that's kind of cool. But I mean, other than that, you're giving $500,000 to LeBron James. I mean, you're giving it to Anthony. So
they scheduled it right though, because it was the only thing on. It was a week. Matchup. You had the Heisman Trophy where everyone was going to win the Heisman Trophy. There's no reason watching it. And there's nothing else on. So it got good ratings because of that. So
yeah, I mean, it was
BA for doing that right. But are we done with the awful courts? Please? No more of that. I don't want to see those courts ever again. Oh my goodness, dude. And the one for the championship game was like bright red and yellow. I thought I was I wanted McDonald's for some reason. I don't know why. And I was just like,
zero cents.
Yeah, and the Indiana Pacers are yellow and the Lakers are yellow. And I was like, this is absolutely unwatchable at times. It was insane. So hopefully they get rid of that next year. So we talk mad crap on this thing all year, and it's kind of dumb to be honest. But I guess ultimately it turned out to be okay in a way. And but is it worthy of coming back next year? I don't know. I'm sure they will, but
yeah, I don't know. I think if we're asking me or you, right? Like I don't need it. I don't need it.
Nobody needed it. Exactly. Nobody did.
Nobody needed it. It was, I will say.
And it screwed up my fantasy basketball week, too.
Exactly. My whole thing was weird. Games didn't count. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
But, I think it was better than what I thought it was going to be. I will say that. It kind of made teams like the Pacers and like teams like that get to a little bigger stage, even though it's, mid-season or whatever. And it made teams try harder, like betting wise. I was loving betting on the in-season tournament because a lot of teams were caring that you usually see a blowout, so that's the only thing I'd say. They're definitely going to bring it back. They are. Silver wants it.
And Tyrese Halliburton, welcome to mainstream.
Yeah.
By the way, we've been talking about him for like a year now. Let's not get crazy.
I'm glad people are finally catching up to speed with this guy, man.
And my secret Pacers team, man. My secret Pacers team, who I was high on at the beginning of the year, say this team is gonna turn heads. Here we are, 13-8, and they're turning heads. So
they're a great full team, man. Depth,
love
full
it.
depth, man. Yeah,
love that team.
Same.
All right. Well, I don't know the questions, so I know you sent them to me earlier. I'm not gonna lie.
A little late though, so I figured maybe
I have not had a chance to even look at them or even have any answers that are planned. So,
cool.
we're going raw dog tonight, baby.
Yes,
on
sir.
Monday Night Rants. No heavy tea. We're going off the rails.
Raw.
That's what we do. So, whoever has the best question, I will obviously send a hoodie to.
For sure.
If you already have a hoodie, I know we've had two.
Yeah.
Let us know. I'll send you a hat too, and that will work. Sportsnet Nick, was one of the questions yours? I don't know. Chow Chad TTV, was one of the questions yours? I don't know. Archon 56, probably. Shout out to Archon 56 for making the Final Four in the
I know.
League as well.
Yeah, shout out for sure.
Yeah,
that's hard, man.
I will announce the Final Four at the end of the show, and we'll do a full celebration next week as we go into what has been a crazy ride in the Guillotine League.
Wild.
All right.
I did not experience the ride, but
you had one. You were the first one out, weren't you? Week what?
Yeah. So I've watched the ride from afar.
Yeah, 13 people have been eliminated after you. That's
all right, man. Let's get to the.
All right, hey, we got an hour, man.
I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
Number one, we got NBA, we got NFL. That's what we're full doing today. But
okay, cool.
We'll start in the NBA world. Number one, the number one seed in the Western Conference right now. They want to know, are the Minnesota Timberwolves legit enough to genuinely go win a championship this year?
I wouldn't say they're legitimate to win the championship. I mean, we saw kind of flashes over actually the last 2 years. We saw the first flash was when they won the play-in game where we thought that Patrick Beverley had just won the NBA title. And then last year we saw even more flash, and we saw Anthony Edwards become a star in front of our eyes. And now they're playing as a whole. They're healthy, playing in a Western Conference that isn't healthy right now in a lot of ways. And like you look at the top two teams, one of them, the other one we've been talking about a lot in the Oklahoma City Thunder. We haven't really been talking about Minnesota Timberwolves, but they're kind of, if you look at it, kind of in a similar boat as Oklahoma City, in a way that their team landscape, really, they are deep. They're deeper than people think, and they got star power that is young and maybe coming into their own. I think they'll make the playoffs, obviously. I don't think they'll end up with the number one seed. But I think they'll win the first round, maybe make a team struggle in the second round that we think could be there in Denver or the Lakers. But if you look at the West as a whole right now, almost to Christmas now, and remember, I always say once you get to Christmas, that's when you start to really turn teams, right? Because we see Houston finally slipping now, which we thought would happen. Teams like that, the Clippers starting to play a little bit better.
Orlando on the East Coast, or a little bit.
Orlando's falling, which I think they still will, even though they're still in second. But Jesus, I think Minnesota has a shot to go to the Western Conference Finals. I'll give them that. I think that's their ceiling. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's like Timberwolves Nuggets or Timberwolves Lakers, depending on some health with these Nugget players. In the finals, and they've been building for that for years. We've seen it in front of our eyes. So yeah, man. I mean, I think they have a team. Like, I think you have your superstar, you have your guy that is your guy. You have Cat, that's he's still your guy. He's still your supporting all-star. Not as much as Edwards at that superstar level, but he's there. You have Rudy defending the paint, and finally you're kind of seeing Cat and Rudy figure out how to play with each other. I think that was huge last year, was they hadn't figured that out yet, so it was a little weird. But they got a roster, man. I mean, they're not too deep, but they're deep. And they're well coached. They're young. They play at a fast pace. They play good defense. So, I mean, I agree with you. I think that if health's huge in this league, we know that, and if they are the team that ends up staying healthy, I could see a Western Conference Finals run. But I do agree with you. I don't see them beating healthy Denver. I don't see them beating the Lakers healthy. Oklahoma City, I still think, is possibly a better team. I think they are. Possibly, yeah. So the Suns get healthy. Everybody that in the Western Conference that needs to be healthy. But after Christmas, though, I would love to have a repeat of this question, honestly, because I like the team. Exactly, and they're not talked about nearly as much as any other team. For sure. And Anthony Edwards, I mean, we talked about it, I think 2 weeks ago, not last week, but he legitimately, I mean, is quietly coming to the face of the league. I mean, everyone talks about Luka. They talk about Giannis, and rightfully so, 100%. He has that swagger, too. Exactly. He's got the mentality, and I'm going to talk my crap and be the best player, on the court. And I think that's what people want to see. So you never know. They're on a 9-1 last 10 game winning streak here. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. Wow. That's what kind of vaulted them to the top. So yeah. We'll see if that lasts. But yeah, right now, they have the best record in the NBA currently. Wow. That's at 17-4. The 9-1 does make me I know that's a great stat, but it does make me a little shaky though, Yeah, exactly. Are we just going on a run right now? Exactly. We'll see after Christmas. We'll see after Christmas and see through January, and that's where it all starts to play out. All right.
Number 2, you kind of just like hinted on it a tiny bit, but it's a good question, man. It's valid. Are the Clippers figuring it out?
It seems they are. They're over 500 now for the first times for the last month. They're 7-3 in the last 10, and they've beaten some good teams.
Good teams, yeah.
They're playing Portland tonight, which I think they'll struggle a little bit because that's what they do. But yeah, they kind of like with the whole Harden thing. And then everyone kind of stopped talking about him after they went on that losing streak, right? And now no one's really talking about him. And here they are winning games.
Yeah, quietly, yeah.
Quietly, not by a lot, winning games, but nobody's like balling out. Like, it's not that Kawhi 30. It's not that Paul George 30. It's just, they're just quietly winning. By the way, the return of Man was probably the big indicator here on this team, and probably one of the most underrated players in the NBA. Terrible fantasy, but just on the court, what he brings, his energy,
plus minus,
is insane. And so he's helped out a lot for sure in this resurgence, I guess you would, in the beginning of the season. But again, Christmas, and it seems to be working. And for some reason, I'm seeing James Harden beard commercials all over my Instagram now, which I didn't before because I'm a Clippers fan. Now I see them.
Now they're all over.
Jesus,
It's so funny. The algorithm's hilarious.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be fine. They're going to make the playoffs. I think they'll get past the play-in.
I agree.
I think they'll be in the top 6, and we'll see what happens. It's the playoffs with the Clippers, so you never know.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely not the team to beat, but I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think to answer this question 100%, like I said, like I completely agree with you. Christmas is where you start to see things, and after Christmas. But as of right now, yeah, they're figuring it out. And I think that what you said was huge. I think that you're looking at the stat sheet and they're winning games, and it's not by one person. And if they're going to make this work, that's how it has to be. It's going to have to be, I'm going to say 3, but if you want to include the 4th, we can include the 4th. You know, all 4 of them, they all have to contribute.
You can say Russell Westbrook's name. You can put that name in your mouth.
I don't know, man. I was on my no ban list, but you know, we let him go, so I could say it. But you know, anyways, they need to contribute all together. They need to all do what they're good at. Westbrook needs to hustle. Harden needs to find the right path. You know, available shots, available shooters. Kawhi needs to be Kawhi. Paul George needs to be Paul George, and they'll win games.
Mann needs to just be that man.
Be Terrence Mann, exactly. And Ty Lue needs to be Ty Lue, and I love Ty Lue. So. I think that they're okay, and I think is Westbrook coming off the bench? Is that what was the change was? And I think that's a great move on him, and props to him for not being a selfish player. It's smart. And listen, me personally, I love it when the Clippers are competitive, even as a Lakers fan. I like it because I like a competitive team in Staples Center with us. And my dream is a Western Conference finals between those two. It would be absolutely amazing. Probably will never see it, but I think that. Just keep playing team ball, man, and you never know. Just don't turn the ball over. That was the biggest thing, was they're turning the ball over. They're missing shots. They're not hustling. Play as a team, So, and I love Zubac. I love Zubac so much.
And
man.
the rest factor has been 0 for Kawhi, for Paul George.
That's big, man.
So we'll see how it all plays out in the end, but.
For sure, yeah, no, I do love to see that they're not resting, and I mean they're getting dubs. That's completely new.
It's the beginning of the season, so I'm a little worried, but we'll see how it all plays out.
On to number 3, has the NBA figured out how to win against the Denver Nuggets?
Well, no. Injuries.
Yep,
I mean, you've had Jamal Murray out for a good amount of time here. And even Jokic has been like kind of hurt and like playing sparingly minutes, and he missed a few rest games. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I just think it's just kind of a bad spell. All NBA teams go through bad spells. Remember at the beginning of the season, when they're all healthy for the first month, they were the best team in basketball. And then they had the Jamal injury in early November. Is he back yet? I don't think he's back yet.
He's back, but it's been on, you know what I mean?
On and off, like one and then miss one. Yeah. So, I mean, they're on a spell right now. Yeah, they've dropped a little bit. I'm sorry, they're 14-9. They're in 4th now, and they're 5-5 in their last 10. I think they're going to be okay when it's all said and done. And they're still 12-7 in their conference. They have the best conference record, so I just don't know. They'll be fine.
The Denver Nuggets will be 100% okay. And
Yeah.
I wish this question was real. Let me tell you that. That'd be nice. I wish it was. But let this team get Jamal
By the way,
Murray.
there's no way to figure out how to beat any team in basketball. It's in football it's possible, in baseball it's very possible, in basketball it's impossible.
I 100% agree with you.
Because of
For sure.
game flow, of
Yep.
it's a hard sport to say, oh, we just do a pick and roll every time and we're gonna beat them.
We're gonna
Well,
win. Yeah.
by the time the
Especially
first
with
quarter's over, you ain't going to be able to do that pick and roll anymore, because that's
Mhm.
what basketball is. That's coaching. There's a
Mhm.
reason why games at halftime, it's like, well, I don't care they're down by 12. It'll still probably be close when it's all said and done, right? Why
Yep.
people say don't watch till the fourth quarter, because
Yeah.
it's 3
And then
quarters
it's
of
in the
figuring
fourth
out what the
quarter.
other team's doing.
Yeah.
So it's a hard sport to figure out other teams. It's just it's one of the only pure talent sports,
100% agree with you.
team sports,
Yep.
because golf obviously is pure talent sport,
Yeah,
tennis,
for sure. For sure.
team sports in the world.
Mhm.
Even more so than soccer, I think. Way more than soccer, Jesus.
Yeah, no, for
But
sure.
yeah, that's what it is. So good luck. I mean, if LeBron is on, nobody can beat him unless you foul him all the time. He's gonna go to the free throw line to make them. So it's like it's just one of those things.
The NBA, I mean, a little off topic, but the NBA has made it to where that's what they want. You know what I mean? They want it to where it's high scoring, a lot of fouls, stuff like that. And that's why you can't really prepare against a team, especially like the Nuggets. You know, the Nuggets, the one thing in that Western Conference Final Series against the Lakers, free throw shooting. Their free throw shooting was huge, man. And you can game plan all you want and try to stop Jokic and do this. If they're getting to the line and they're making all the free throws, you're not going to beat that team. You know, and, you know, just to go back to this question, you know, really quick, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I think this question is ridiculous. I think this team is the best team in the league by far. It's not close. When healthy. If Jamal Murray keeps having problems, then yes, I will worry about this team because the camaraderie won't be there. The chemistry won't be there as much. But get this guy back, give it 10 games, and you will see them right back at number 1.
Yeah, I think by the end of January, they'll be back.
They're
in
the
that
number
one.
1 team. Yeah. So that's how I think on this one for sure.
Figure out how to beat him. Get out of here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No hoodie for you.
Take Jokic out, then maybe that's how you figure out to beat him. Number 4, we're gonna head to the NFL world. Brock Purdy, MVP, scrub, or right in between?
Right in between. He's set up in a good situation, right? He has a lot of talent around him. McCaffrey, Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, right? I really think right now the MVP, if I had to pick one, well, to be honest, I would pick Tyreek Hill until tonight. Him being hurt kind of changes that. But he's about to beat. He's doing things we've never seen in the NFL before, and there's not really one quarterback that's really like taken this season by storm.
Sure.
And right now the favorite's Dak Prescott. Yeah, he's had a good run lately, but this is also a guy who got skunked by the Arizona Cardinals and Josh Dobbs this year. Tyreek Hill has been absolutely tremendous the entire year, every game. And he's going to go over 2,000, hopefully. We'll see what happens with his injury right now.
And he called that at the beginning of the year, too. That's
I think I'm tired of this being a quarterback-only award. I think if, I really feel like Tyreek Hill should be the MVP. But I know I went off on a tangent. We were talking about Purdy, but still, I think Tyreek Hill should have been the favorite and should be the favorite. I just kind of worry about this injury now because tonight he could have dominated tonight again. But then I think it's Dak Prescott after him. And then you got, Hurts and Allen and Mahomes.
They're just. They just
you got to put Purdy in there as an MVP, right?
Yeah,
but is he really the MVP of his own team, let alone the NFL? I don't think so. I think McCaffrey's the MVP of his own team. So, and that defense. So, plus Brandon Ayuk is so underrated. I think if he was, he's
100%. Yeah,
very underrated. He to me, he's like a top 5 receiver talent wise in the NFL. But you got Debo and a great coach and defense. So I'm not gonna go MVP talent. I don't think he's a scrub at all. I think Purdy's good. I think he set a record in his last bowl game. We're talking about college tonight. I think he set a record and won MVP of that bowl game. I think it was the Sugar Bowl or one of those for most passing yards. So he could. It's not like he hasn't done it before, but he's just a very good quarterback in the NFL, which is hard to be nowadays if you look at the starting quarterbacks currently.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, look, he was Mr. Irrelevant. So what he's doing right now is amazing. It's great. He is absolutely balling. My thing with Brock Purdy, and you hit it on the nail, it's what's around him, right? I watched a Niners game, and I'm not saying he's bad. He makes good throws. I would love him.
Oh, he could throw the ball. He makes good throws. Yeah.
So
could Joe Flacco.
Exactly. That is what a quarterback does. People hype that up. That's what a quarterback does. My thing is when I watch the game and they do a 2-yard pass to Debo and it's taken for 50 yards, and then a handoff to McCaffrey that's taken for 90 yards, and then a 5-yard slant to Ayuk that's taken for 90 yards. And then, I keep going, Kittle for 90 yards. And then the best offensive line, arguably in the league. There's the best defense in the league, arguably the best schemer of coaching in the league. There's just so many.
They're the best team in the league in all facets of the game.
Exactly. And so when I look at that, I'm like, Jimmy Garoppolo succeeded in that organization. Jimmy Garoppolo was okay with that team, went to a Super Bowl with that team.
What?
Jimmy Garoppolo's trash. Jimmy Garoppolo's terrible.
Trey Lance.
When you play, yeah, but see, my thing with Trey Lance is different. Trey Lance is a runner. He runs.
Yeah.
If you have and Brock Purdy can run too, but Brock Purdy is also a pocket passer quarterback.
Yes.
Trey Lance was never a pocket passer quarterback.
No.
If you want to succeed in that offense, which Jimmy Garoppolo did, which Brock is, it's easy. It's a West Coast offense that is a lot of short throws, that's a lot of yards after catch, and you have the greatest running back in the league behind you. So he's not a scrub, and I don't even want to put him in between. I want to put him like a little bit more than in between, like a little bit better. But I don't see the same success rate if he was on the Steelers, if he was on the Chargers, if he was on these other teams that do not have all that around him, Yeah. So I'm not one of those guys that's like system quarterback, but the system helps a lot.
No, Alex Smith was in some great systems, and he was, including the 49ers. So
sure.
there is such thing as a system quarterback, let me tell you. But he just happens to be a system quarterback with a good arm.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
no, and I think some throws that he made one yesterday. It was like he rolled out to his left. It was like 40 yards down the field to Ayuk. It was a great throw, and that's a great throw, dude, 100%. But then you hand it off to McCaffrey for 50 yards right after that. So
what I'm saying is, if you put someone like Sam Howell on the 49ers offense, he could probably be doing the same thing that Purdy is right now.
No, dude, that's my thing. I'm like,
but Sam Howell is also a very good thrower of the football.
Of football, yeah, for sure.
I think he leads the NFL.
I was interested to see if they were going to do anything with. I know this sounds crazy, Sam Darnold. I was interested what they were going to do with Sam Darnold when they put him in that organization, and if they gave him a shot with how awesome that organization is. I think so many quarterbacks can go. I think Kenny Pickett goes there and he's solid. That is a wild statement to say that guy can go somewhere and be solid.
What a fun game that was to watch the other night. Huh? Your Steelers.
You see the announcement today? He is starting on. Starting on Saturday. So
Pickett's back. Trubisky's back.
Yep.
Jesus
he is the official.
Christ.
According to Tomlin, Rudolph has not had enough helmet time, so he cannot start.
Is that a joke?
That Tomlin's always talking,
Wait,
but he's
helmet
not really talking.
Helmet time? Is that a joke from when the time they had to take off his helmet?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Oh man, blows my mind. Let's get off that one. Number 5, we're gonna stay in the NFL world. Okay, this is a good one. I forgot about this one. This is a hot take. We don't have a lot of these pretty much ever. This person says Marvin Harrison Jr. is the number 1 draft pick, and he is set with that. Our opinion on that.
Yeah, it depends on who the number 1 pick team is. If it's the New England Patriots, then no. If it's the Carolina Panthers, then yes. Here's why. Because that pick will go to the Chicago Bears.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest knock on Fields has been throwing whatever. But look what happened with the Chicago Bears this year when they gave him an actual number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Moore. And Moore has been, I was on him. Remember, I was drafting him. I have him in the guillotine league still, people.
Yeah.
And I was high on him because I said he's going to get all the action. He's a great receiver, and
he's their guy.
Look what's happened. And even when they double or triple cover him or go off sides and just let him get wide open for a touchdown like he did yesterday, he finds Komet, right? And then Mooney, I never thought was that great of a wide receiver. He was just all about volume, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was the best they had.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if Harrison Jr. gets drafted number 1 overall, the Panthers, which by trade would go to
the Bears.
The Bears.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair. You give Justin Fields that, then next year is his year to shut up and prove it, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the Bears the way they are now, right? They're getting better, obviously, with Fields, Komet, and DJ Moore. and add
Absolutely,
Marvin
yeah.
Harrison Jr. And by the way, the Panthers must be absolutely pooping themselves if they end up with DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison Jr. on the Bears because of that
Yeah.
dumb trade.
Yeah. 100. No, for sure, man. Yeah, for sure. And that would be interesting.
So if the Bears end up with a 1, I could see Marvin Harrison Jr. going number 1 overall, and I wouldn't blame him. I think the way your team, I mean, shoot, if they win their next 4, they could be in the playoffs. Let's be real. I'm not saying it's going to have people, but they're definitely playing better football than they have all year.
They
round.
are for sure. Yeah, they're
Even
playing competitive football. Yeah.
Even with Tyson Badgett, they were still playing competitive football, and now Fields looks fine.
Yeah, I agree.
He looks fine because he finally has a receiver he's comfortable with that he hasn't had.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Lamar Jackson, it took him a few years for his MVP type level, and he's a similar type of player.
Yeah.
They gave him talent, and look what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Even that year that they made the playoffs and played the Chargers, and he was a rookie, and he got absolutely annihilated. He had no talent on that. He had no receivers on that team.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah,
nothing.
Yeah,
and you grew it around him, and look what happened. So, I think Fields should be fine. If it's the Panthers to the Bears, then yes, I can see it. If it ends up being the Patriots, then the Patriots will take Williams or May because they need somebody that can throw a football without the other team catching it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure, man. I think it's a great take. I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. is, you don't say this a lot about wide receivers. Usually you only hear this about quarterbacks, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is a game changer at that wide receiver.
He's
position.
Justin Jefferson. I'll be honest with you. He is Justin Jefferson.
He is, in my opinion, I mean, one of the greatest college wide receivers I've ever seen in my eye, with my 2 eyes, man. I mean, he's a freak of nature. He has not had any sort of decline whatsoever. I mean, he is just consistent. And I think that if the Bears go grab him, that is a game changer, man.
He was at the Heisman Trophy ceremony with Kyle McCord throwing the ball all year for Ohio State.
Yeah, that's exactly
that way.
Exactly.
And Fields, quarterback, Ohio State. Ohio State.
Yeah. Yep. I didn't even think about that.
Dude.
It makes a lot of sense. Man.
I wonder what the odds are on that right now because it looks like Carolina will get that number 1 seed or pick will go to the Bears. What are the odds that it's Marvin Harrison Jr. number 1? Put money, smash that now.
Sure. Yeah, Caleb
now.
Yeah.
Fields to Harrison Jr. with DJ Moore doing the short work and oh my goodness, that team would be. And you got the Vikings. Who knows what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins? The Packers, they're getting their butts kicked by the New York Giants right now. And you got the how Goff and that division still in a way.
For sure. Next year, you could come in. I mean, if you go get Marvin Harrison Jr., you get a rookie contract for an absolute baller. Your offense is already solid. I don't know a lot about their O-line. I don't know if they need to upgrade that.
They've gotten better this year, but their running backs is a problem. But Roschon Johnson looks the part.
Yeah.
Herbert's been off and on hurt, so that kind of hurt. Foreman's going to be a 1-year thing. But Roschon Johnson, who they drafted last year, when he's been healthy, looks good. So I'm not too worried about that.
I mean, and then if you do that, though, you get to go absolutely splurge on your defense, and that's what they need. You can say, hey, running back, maybe we go get someone for cheap, whatever it is, or in the draft, but we're pretty solid on offense. Let's just go splurge. And, I mean, if you can put a defense around that offense, Chicago could be looking at something next year, man. 100%.
Dude, I love that hot take. I hate that word, but I love that.
Yeah. No, for real, yeah.
I can see a world where that happens. A matter of fact, I could just see it happening. I think that's what's going to happen if Carolina gets that pick and it goes to the Bears.
There's no reason Caleb Williams would be taken 1 overall if Carolina,
unless they trade it.
That's what I was going to say. Unless somehow it gets traded, there's no way, dude.
Because the way that the Bears have looked lately, there's no reason to restart at all. I think you're moving in the right direction.
It would be wild. It would be wild to me to do that. I think it would be like fans might be happy, maybe. I think, but I
think they would be happy with Marvin Harrison Jr.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like they'd be just as happy with that. I think it's more of a jump the ship to leave Justin Fields right now, and I think you shouldn't do it.
I'm seeing him play better football. He's winning now. Finally, a lot of it had to do with them not winning. Well, guess what? Sure. They're starting to win games. And they're starting to put it together and play good football. And if they keep it up,
dude, my biggest thing with him too is the passing ability, man. Like we always knew he could run, but the way that the beginning of the
throwing
season,
dimes to DJ Moore this year.
Been throwing dimes. And my biggest thing about throwing those dimes is he's not even taking 2 steps out of the pocket. He's stepping up and he's throwing a bullet, and that is what you want in your quarterback.
Yeah, what's their record right now? The Bears.
I believe I want to say around 4 to 5 wins.
Here, let's look it up. Here, we got time. Yeah, they are 5-8, dude.
Yeah, 5
and 8, right?
That's not bad at all, considering how
this
they
out.
started this season.
Check this
man.
out. Here's their next 4 games. They play the Browns and Joe Flacco. Now, I know it's the Browns and the defense, but that's could be a winnable game.
100% a winnable game, yeah. Is it in Chicago?
No,
You know?
it's in
I mean,
Cleveland.
still,
but-
though, you still could go win that.
Cardinals at Bears. It's a winnable game.
Yeah.
Falcons at Bears.
Once again.
Winnable game.
Mhm.
And then Bears at Packers. That game could be for a final playoff spot.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy to think about, man. Wow. Yeah.
The Bears
Yeah.
at 5-8. And remember, they had at one point in the season had the number 2 pick in the NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
So they've come a long way. So they've been playing better football. And I'm telling you, if I were them, I would just get your other stud receiver and just
Dude,
get
imagine
great pieces
they
on free agency
squeezed in
for
the
defense.
playoffs this year. Obviously, like first round exit, and then they go get Marvin
looking
Harrison.
at the NFC, it's not too far out of the picture to say that.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's the 2 top dogs, and then it really falls off. I mean, it really
3.
falls
Well,
off.
there's 3.
The
top
Lions,
dogs,
yeah, the Lions.
No. Cowboys, Eagles,
Cowboys,
49ers. Then Lions are there. So there's 4.
Yeah.
But those other 3 spots, man. Well, I guess somebody from the South has to go in. So we'll get one in there. So there's 2 spots up for grabs here, pretty much.
Who is leading the South right now?
The Buccaneers.
The Bucks.
Tampa Bay. They're currently currently the bottom feeders in the number 4 spot. We'll see how that all pans out. But
Can we make a fan vote just to like switch no more 4 teams out of the division and just the best teams?
Just do it the way every other freaking every other. I guess baseball does that too.
Yeah, baseball does do that. Division
It drives me crazy. But I guess in baseball it makes sense because you play those guys so many times, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In football, I guess you do play your.
There's also
6 of the 17 games.
Baseball, so it's like if you're that number 1 team, you're usually that number 1 team.
Yeah, because there's
Football,
so many games
like,
with football.
Kind of like, you know.
Yeah, we've seen this a lot, especially in these southern conferences. And,
I was about to say, even in baseball, the South, the South in general, man.
Well, hey, hold on now. We have some Sportsnet Nick could be from the South. You don't know. Let's not get crazy. I love the South, baby. Love it. Love Texas. I have Texas going to the college football championship here. Me and Heavy T, so I'm all in there.
Who does Heavy T's got Texas to?
Yeah, most likely. He's been talking about Texas all year. That's all I had to hear was Lincoln Riley is a fraud. Lincoln Riley is a fraud. USC is not good. Texas is good. Texas should be in the college football playoffs.
Not
got
lying.
his wish.
Yeah, I got his wish, and USC was terrible.
That was my Heavy T impression. I love it.
That's a good one.
Give me a hot dog. It's a new inning.
I love I was cracking up on the break when he's doing the Chicago Bears quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm so sick of seeing that though. We gotta get a new breakout.
You gotta get a new clip, yeah.
That was insane.
Mitchell Trubisky at 5, hilarious.
Well, we have one last big UFC card.
Yeah.
This year. UFC 296 to it. By the way, UFC 300 is going to be off the hook, I hear, going to next year. But we'll talk about 296 for now. Some really close fight odds-wise in this one, in the main event. And a lot of, we talked about it a few weeks ago, but the odds have changed a little bit. Now, obviously the Leon Edwards, Colby Covington is the main title bout. Actually, I think the flyweight is a title bout as well. Leon Edwards, Colby Covington. I was surprised when I saw the odds here was only Leon Edwards minus 148. I understand, Covington's a gritty fighter, but I really like Leon Edwards in this one, minus 148. I think I'm going to be on. I may even have him by decision to get some extra value there. Oh, no, I'm sorry, by knockout or submission to get some extra value there with this championship fight. I think Leon Edwards wins. I just can't see Colby Covington wearing a belt. It's just weird.
I agree.
You agree with that fight? You think?
Colby,
I mean, obviously Colby has a chance, but
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Those odds are really too close for me.
I'm not doing anything on Colby Covington. I don't care if Colby Covington wins. I mean, it'd be cool for the sport, I guess, an upset. But I think Leon Edwards should not be minus. What is it? Minus
148.
It's absolutely wild. It should be way more than that. I mean, it should, in my opinion, it should be in the 2s. That's just
I agree with you there. Which means I'll get my plus 200 whatever for for submission or knockout.
Yeah.
One kick to the head is all it takes from him, as we've seen before. The flyweight. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't see it going to decision.
I don't either.
I do think if you can get plus 200 or anything,
one of these guys is going to win before it goes 5 rounds. I'll guarantee
100%.
that.
Yeah. Sure.
Pantoja, Brandon Royval for the flyweight title bout. Pantoja, not my style that I like to watch per se. In a UFC fight, this one I could definitely see going all 5 rounds.
Same.
Everyone always talks about, I want to see these lightweights because they just throw so many punches. But to be honest, the flyweights, the kind of more boring fights in a way than like the heavyweights or or like even welterweights are more exciting. I'm not too excited about this. I'm excited because it's for a belt. So I'm only minus 175 for Pantoja's favor, which means I'm probably going to go Royval plus 145.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest, man. Pantoja is inconsistent. He's weird. He's a weird fighter.
It's boring too.
Yeah, it's very boring when it happens. It's almost like you don't think he even won the fight.
I didn't think he won. I didn't think he won.
No, yeah, exactly.
The last one, and he won. It's just like it's
weird, man.
Sleepily does enough technical stuff to get it done.
In there with the cards and stuff. But
this is going to 5. I would take the, but I would
out of the two mains. If you're going to sprinkle or put money down on a dog, this is the one that you do right here. Not Colby Cup. Do this one for sure.
Yep, because the next 3 are very lopsided. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Rakhmonov. Rakhmonov has been on a tear. Number 5 in welterweight, looking to get his shot to fight the winner of Covington Edwards. I'm pretty sure whoever wins this fight will. I think he dominates. I love Wonderboy. He's gritty. He's gonna do his thing. He's gonna be flamboyant. He's gonna get all bloody and he's gonna lose. Okay. I have
typical Wonderboy fashion.
So I'm not even minus 520. There's no money value in that. I just want to see how that fight plays out. I'm not touching it. And then we have the English and Ireland's of the world for the first time ever on the same main event card. Paddy Pimblett, everyone's favorite bull cut, is fighting Tony Ferguson, who everyone's favorite. Why are you still here? Minus 340. Pimblett, obviously, I'm not touching this one with a 5-foot pole. Even the knockout odds are minus for Pimblett over Tony Ferguson, which I could totally see happening. Just parlay a Pimblett knockout with another fight. If you're going to be smart with this one, that's the way it's going to go.
I hate that he's fighting Tony Ferguson. I
hate that this is on the main card. They're making us pay for this. We know how it's going to end, and we have to pay for it. It's terrible. And I got to see this guy's stupid bowl cut. It is just terrible. And then we have Machado Gary, or Ian Machado Gary, from Ireland, who won his last fight by knockout. He's been rising up the ranks as the next type of big thing. These Irish, English, Pimblett, Gary boxers from the UK. Minus 360 here. However, I'm looking at Luque. Vicente Luque and going, his last couple fights, been strong. I know he lost a few in a row, but here he is. He's been back strong at plus 285. And if you can just control the high punching from Gary, I think he has a chance to pull off an upset here and be willing to sprinkle some plus 285 and put him in my DraftKings lineups as well in this one. That's the only underdog I'm really like, I can see this happening. I mean, I can see obviously the Royval happening too, but by decision in a close fight. Just I'm talking, I could see a case where Luque actually puts Gary down in submission and just smothers him and wins this fight. So there you go.
I think that's, I mean, look, I think if Luque wins, it is inside the rounds 100%, because I think they're pushing Gary's narrative. I'm very big on that with the UFC when it goes to the cards, whose narrative is being pushed more. So scares me going to the cards, but DFS wise, I 100% agree with you. He will be in my DraftKings lineup because of the finish capability if he does at a low price. I think, like you said, out of a lot of them that we just named, this is the one where it could happen. The only other fight I think I see that possibility is the Pantoja fight. But besides the Pantoja fight, I think this is the sprinkle. I think this definitely is the sprinkle. Also, the fighting styles, they're very I don't want to say they match up well, but they kind of do match up well.
Towards
way,
Luque, even
yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah. No, yeah, legit. So it's interesting. It'll be very interesting. I'll be sprinkling. I always like to sprinkle.
And in the prelims, if you want to go over and under a punches thrown, go over on the Cody Garbrandt and Brian Keller fight. That is going to be. That is going to be.
That's all you're going to see.
Punch. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm looking forward to that one. Garbrandt's actually favored -205 to +170. But in a fight like that, where there's going to be so many punches thrown.
I was going to say, do you really like that -2 of
I
don't know, dude. It's interesting on that.
I want to go kill him because if he lands one, but that fight's going to be a lot of fun. And I don't know if there's any part of the body on Garbrandt not covered with a tattoo too. So that's gonna be fun.
Even the eyelids, man.
He closes his eyes. Another one too I'm looking forward to is the Alameda Feely fight. I think will be fun. But definitely in the prelims, that's the fight I can't wait to watch. It's going to be a punch fest. Not, by the way, we say punch fest, not strong punches. It's going to be a shitload of jabs going back and forth to that one. The last
you'll definitely see it in between total and significant strikes.
Yes, 100%. But that's going to be a fun fight to watch in the bantamweight. Could go the distance with like 200
man, I am looking
punches
for.
thrown
I
in 3 rounds.
I did not look through this whole card, man. I'm looking through it right now.
There's some really good prelims in here as well. Josh Emmett, Bryce Mitchell will be fun. I really like the Feely fight. The Feely Almeida fight will be fun too.
I was about to say the Almeida. I'm looking at that right now. That's going to be interesting. And I always love seeing round fight.
Seeing that Cody Durden is here now in a prelim, in an early prelim, will be fun to see how he fights against. Obviously, I think this is his first actual UFC event fight because he was in what's it called, the Ultimate Fighter or whatever. So it'd be fun to watch him. He's only a +145 underdog. I thought
that could be interesting. It could be interesting.
Olin Bikov from Russia. He's one of those fighters under the same flag of all those champions who all have the beards and look Amish.
I literally can't stand betting against them. I never do. Them in Brazil, I hate.
Yeah, but luckily this fight is not in. It's at T-Mobile in Las Vegas, not in Russia. So.
Not a lot.
Or in Brazil, where it's like, oh god.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think it's gonna be great. I can't wait to text you about it. We'll share some DFS lineups as well. We got like 12 minutes left. I was gonna give some bets for college football games. You can stay on with me and help me, or you could.
Let's do it.
And then we got to give a shout out to the Final Four in the Guillotine League here. I'll just do the games until we have the next show because I know Heavy T wants to do the big games with me. And boy, are these games fun this week. By the way, also, we're doing the Bettercast tomorrow, the live trivia with me, but live right now on Bettercast, and you could do this with me. It's actually a bowl pick'em game. You can also win tickets to get prizes, to get memorabilia.
Yep.
There's Moose and Keith talking. Sorry about that. Let me turn them down. But if you go down there, you could do bowl pick'em, college bowl pick'em, and second there, right there, and you could pick every bowl game yourself for a chance to win. And you get points for picking underdogs. You get more points for picking underdogs, which is good to know who's being transferred and who's not playing if you're going to go that route. Myrtle Beach Bowl right here. I'm going to pick mine right here. Boom, done. You have until when it starts on.
I got to post it on
Saturday
media later.
Yeah. Post this, get it in. It's free to play. Every game, winner take all. You win tickets. You could get hats, not just autographed memorabilia, but also like if you're a Falcons fan like Heavy T, you get a Falcons hat. You just trade in your tickets from Fanatics. Really cool. Bettercast.app. Bettercast.app. You can play the bowl. We got my trivia game tomorrow. We got bowl pick'em. We got nightly Bettercast games.
Yes, sir.
It's insane what we're doing here. A lot of fun. I cannot wait to host that tomorrow night. I'm gonna have some fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I got to write the questions, so some of the answers, like I'll spoil the way. One of the it's multiple choice, and one of them I put the answer toilet bowl. So we'll see if that's the actual answer or not. You have to tune in tomorrow night to see what the question is.
For sure, though.
Because it could be.
I like it. Though. Throwing some mysteries,
Throw some mysteries, man. Speaking of toilet bowl, the first bowl game of the season, of both season, baby, is the Myrtle Beach Bowl.
Jesus.
between Georgia Southern and Ohio. Not that one. It's actually a favorite to Georgia Southern. They were 6-6 this year. Ohio being 9-3. It's only a -2.5 point spread. Oh, it's moved to 3.5 now.
Boom.
The public have switched though and said no, we're going Ohio's way. 71%. Just looking at this and not knowing much about these teams, in a neutral site, first bowl game, and the public going with Ohio just because they probably have the better record. I'm going to go ahead and take Georgia Southern here. Go against the go against it. I'm going to take them to win. I'm going to put it right here, the Myrtle Beach Bowl, and my BetterCast app, Georgia Southern, which by the way are +13 instead of +10.
Wow.
Even though, so I'm going to go ahead and get my points there. Okay. The next bowl game, Saturday. What am I going to do on Saturday? Jesus. There's one coming up I'm going to be doing. Jacksonville State versus University of Louisiana Lafayette. 74% is with Jacksonville State, -3.5 point favorites over the Ragin' Cajuns. I love that name. Always great when they make the NCAA basketball tournament too. The Ragin' Cajuns. Jacksonville State 8-4, 6-6 here. -3. It's almost like Vegas says, screw it. We'll just give these all -3.5 and see what happens.
See what the public does.
5-5 against the spread, 6-3 against the spread for State. 74% of the public. Looking at the matchup here, defense not good for the Ragin' Cajuns. I'm gonna take Jacksonville State.
Yeah,
this one.
3.5.
I'll go ahead and plug that in to my. Oh, that's not. Yeah, so plug that Jacksonville State. Plug that into my BetterCast app here. Okay, I'm just gonna do this weekend. By the way, we're gonna save the rest till later. Miami of Ohio, the other Ohio, versus Appalachian State, -6.5. Appalachian State 8-5. Miami of Ohio, a very good season here at 11-2, +6.5. Yeah, +6. But I mean, look at the accomplishment. This is, by the way, this is the Avocados from Mexico Cure Bowl.
Oh, the bowl names are hilarious, dude.
The Avocados from Mexico Cure Bowl. So, do the avocados from the United States don't cure, right? Only the ones from
just
Mexico?
yeah.
Okay. I'm taking Appalachian State.
I like that.
Yep. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Okay. My boys, Fresno State in the Izteta New Mexico Bowl. That's right. Against New Mexico State. How is that fair? New Mexico State favored -3.5. Also has the public at 57%. I'm taking Fresno State. I know Fife just transferred out. I think Keene is going to play. Fresno State's just a better team, man. Yeah. I know 10-4 for New Mexico State University and 8-4 for Fresno State. But Fresno State, before the injuries at quarterback, man, they dominated Arizona State at Arizona. They beat Purdue in Purdue this year. This Fresno State team is too good. I'm taking Fresno State. And you get bonus points if you take them on your BetterCast app as well. All right. The Starco Brands LA Bowl between the UCLA Fight Bruins and the Boise State University Broncos, the Mountain West champions, by the way, coming out of nowhere. Boise State, no one's been hotter in football right now than Boise State, I'll tell you that. Well, maybe Florida State University, but that's a whole nother story for the day. 8-5, 5-1 at home. 5-4 against the spread against UCLA. 7-5. Remember, they don't have Dante Moore. They have a quarterback that's kind of untested. They were ranked early in the year. It's 7-5. They're -3.5 favorites. Boise State wins bowl games, period. They have one of the best winning percentages in bowl games in the country of all time. I'm taking Boise State, and you get bonus points for Boise as well. What do we got next here? Oh, this will be a fun one. Cal, welcome back to Stardom. Welcome back to a bowl game, Cal, against Texas Tech. Their quarterback from Texas Tech did transfer out, Tyler Shug. They will have their backup in there who did play the last couple of games, actually, for them for an injured Shug. Shug, whatever the heck his name is. It's spelled like it's not said. 6-6 this year. Rough year for Texas Tech, who was in the top 25 at the beginning of the year before back-to-back losses to Wyoming and Oregon, then kind of struggled home and got absolutely annihilated by Texas the last game they played. Cal's been surprising this year. Big win. I think they're one of the teams that beat USC. They've been pretty good. It is -2.5. Texas Tech, 74% of the public. I just think Texas Tech has the better defense, better team. Cal's a good quarterback. They're going to throw the ball a lot. I've
Texas.
taken too many underdogs. I'm taking Texas.
Yeah,
Tech.
same.
Yeah, so go ahead and plug that in right there. Texas Tech.
Ooh, Old Dominion.
On. Yeah, you love it, right? Great country band, by the way. And the famous, what is this?
Toastery.
The famous Toastery Bowl, the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, by the way, against Old Dominion. 7-5 for the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, 6-6 for Old Dominion. -2.5. Old Dominion, 61% of the public. I'm gonna take Western Kentucky in this. I'm taking Western Kentucky. They're a little bit of an underdog, a better record. Just 2.5 to me. Might as well just get some extra points there as we move forward. And I think that covers all of them, right?
Yeah,
all the way through Monday.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have the show on Monday, but that game will already be done. So there you go. And then we'll do the rest next Monday with Heavy T. I think we did good there. I think we're gonna do good. We'll have to keep
I like the dogs we took. I do. I think
I mean, Boise State is a no-brainer, I think, in that one.
I agree.
And then we took Appalachian to win outright.
I like
Fresno State as a dog. That doesn't seem right.
I also like Texas Tech. I like Texas Tech to go win that game too.
Yeah, I like that as well over Cal. Even though Cal's going to throw the ball a lot in that game,
Texas
I like
Tech's
that
still the better team, I think.
as well. Okay, before we go, who do you have winning the national championship?
Man, I do have Texas. I do think Michigan's is interesting. I could see them winning, but I think Texas is the best team out of all those 4 teams.
Well, there you go.
Hate to.
There you go.
It seems
You're
like
with me.
we never disagree. Me, you, and Heavy T, but
Yeah.
great minds think alike.
By the way, Jordan Love is absolutely struggling. 22-34, 198, 1 interception, no touchdowns. He has no yards rushing on the ground, and he's losing to Tommy Cutlets. 21-13 right now. Green Bay does have the ball at 4th and 10. Looks like they're going to go for it here. But wow. And then 13-13. Oh, they just kicked a field goal. So it's 21-16 for the Packers. Wow. Okay.
Man.
Don't like that because now I'm actually losing in fantasy because he has the kicker for, oh my goodness. More on that later. And then 13-13, Miami has the ball here in a really tight game that no one thought it was. Again, Tyreek Hill, I believe he has returned to the game because he now has 4 receptions for 61 yards. So enough is enough.
Tommy DeVito has 10 carries.
He does.
Wow, dude, for 71 yards.
Tommy Cutlets
has
10 carries for 71 yards. Saquon Barkley has 14 carries for 25 yards, but the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And Wan'Dale Robinson, by the way, 4 for 42
he got the first
there.
touchdown, didn't he?
No, he's just the leading receiver there
okay.
for the
the Giants' amazing receiving room.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
I'm glad to see Tyreek Hill's back though.
Yeah, no, a lot of fun. We have to see how these. He's going in and out. Now he's on the side with his helmet on. He's going in.
What's going on?
Ankle injury.
Oh, okay.
Ankle injury. So we'll see how it all plays out in the end. But
dude, let's give Miami an L here, dude.
Chow Chad is going. Oh my god! What happened? I want to know.
Let us know. We only got a minute. Hurry up and tell.
Oh my god, a minute, man. What is it? Looks like it's official here. A guillotine, and we have a final 4 that will be after all this, who has made it. We will say farewell to Josh Danhill. What a great run he's done this year to make the 5, but the 4 are as follow. Archon 56, Eric Dozier, and I will, Chad, 1 second. Team Eric Dozier 4. Big shout out to Team Corn 4.
There it is.
A lot of 4s. Team Corn 4. With a crazy 5 minutes yesterday that brought him from nothing to something. And I have made it into the Final 4 with my team as well. So shout out to the Final 4 in the Guillotine League. It's going to be fun. Chow Chad says, pull up my tracker. Whatever. That's my own show. If I want to go a minute late, let's pull up what he said earlier in the chat. I have 500 under on Tucker Craft overs tonight, and I'll likely run out of nails to bite by the end of it. I don't know what the over was. Did he say? Where is Kraft at right now? He's probably 500. Jesus, 500 units? I have 500 units on Tucker Craft overs. Holy cow, buddy. You're put it all into Tucker Craft, man.
Wow.
And Tucker Craft right now.
Does he have 7 yards?
4 for 64.
Oh, okay.
So he's actually the leading receiver for
Good
the
pick, my boy.
Packers
Pick.
here, which is smart with the way that it's played out. So kudos to you. I don't know what the odds are. It was 29.5, and I bet all the odds up to 55.5. My boy,
Wow.
Chow Chang. Woo! Monday Night Rants. My fellow ranter winning some money on Tucker Craft.
Hit me up with your
Buy
bets.
the wife something nice or your girlfriend. Yeah, hit up at Better Thomas with some bets, buddy. Hit up your wife or girlfriend or somebody is something special with that win. That is congratulations to you. Uncle Ted, welcome to the show. Patrick Taylor is a must add. Guys, I was supposed to end a minute ago. I love it. I love it. I love it. Uncle Ted, thank you for coming. Shout out to Chow Chad, man. Give him a big cheer. You know what? You know what Chad deserves? An air horn. All right, man. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me
of course,
for like an
dude.
hour.
I love when
I
I
had a
get
lot
to
of
stay a
fun.
little bit longer, dude. It's always fun.
I know you had some big shoes to fill.
I know. Literally.
But I think you did a wonderful, fantastic job there tonight, my friend.
Yeah. Thank you.
We'll see you next week, huh?
Of course. Every week.
All right.
Dude. Let's text this Saturday. Let me know what your bets are looking like.
Yeah, we'll get down.
For sure.
We're gonna have some fun this Saturday.
Let me know,
for
man.
sure.
Let me know.
My fellow ranters, everyone out there, from myself, from at Better Thomas, from Tyler Heavy T Soto on Thunder Mountain Railroad, and all the Better Sports Network. Enjoy the rest of the games. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the bowl season, baby. We'll see you next Monday. Better Sports Network. Shout out to Taj McGowan, still alive, baby.